Hello, I'm Jody Wolf, and you're watching Expoz. It's December 25. Merry Christmas again. In 2020 at 2:02 a.m., Birmingham, and I think 12:02 in California right now. I have a sister-in-law in San Diego, and I hope you all have a Merry Christmas there. What I want to talk about two things, and just not necessarily. Um, One is the COVID shot, the vaccine, and the other is the timing of the church being taken up. I learned two things today. I had the movie I bought when it came out before the wrath, and but I saved it till tonight or Christmas Eve and watched it with my daughter and her husband and grandchildren. And what I learned is when the bride and the groom, when they meet each other, and then the groom asks the bride to marry him, she has to accept by drinking of this cup, and either she can refuse it or she can drink of it. And of course, in this story, she drank of the cup. But he saved his till when he would come back to get her, because he left to go to his father's house and build a room onto his house. And when he finished, and the father told him, okay, he'd come back and get the bride. Now, when he comes back to get the bride, there are two men that are carrying like a flat board with a chair on it. They lower the board, and she will stand on the board and sit in the chair, and then they will walk away. So her feet doesn't touch the ground until she gets home. So she pretty much, the way they described it in the movie, she flew there. When the groom came after the bride was lifted up and taken there. Same as you and I, when Jesus comes after the church, we will be taken up to meet him there. But Jesus, when he said, no man knows the day nor the hour, only the Father in heaven, that, I was a little confused. But it's true. When you have a wedding, Jewish wedding, it is the groom's father that, even though the groom came and built the room onto the house, the groom's father had to tell him when it was okay to go get the bride. The groom didn't know when he could leave. He's been ready. He's just like itching to go get his bride, just the same as Jesus is itching, just can't wait till he can come get his bride, the church. So all he's waiting for right now is for the Father to tell him, go get your bride. And we will lift off this ground. We won't touch ground again until we're in the Father's house. They describe Father's house as being a big house with many places that you could add on. Jesus described God's house as a giant house with many mansions inside of it. And he's going to go to one of those and prepare a place for us, each of us who accepts Christ. And then he'll return and get us and take us with him to home. First 7 years in heaven, 7 long years, just as it was in those days. There'll be back then there was a 7 day long feast. 7 day feast for the bride and groom. In heaven, we will have a 7 year feast. 7 years long in heaven. That means nothing's going to hurt our stomach by eating too much, by drinking too much. There's nothing, we're going to be in our new bodies. We'll be perfect in every way. No sickness. And I cannot wait to dig my teeth into some of the food that God's got for us. And somebody said one time of water, he said, if God made anything better than water, he took it with him. And you know what? That's pretty clear to me, and I believe that. And naturally, everything in heaven will be far better than what we experience here. And our best experience here will be hundreds of times less than what it will be like in heaven. He said that our hearts cannot imagine the good things that God has laid out and planned for us. Can you imagine that? All the universe, trillions of galaxies and hundreds of trillions, billions of trillions of stars, God made them all for us. For us. I can't wait to see them. Okay. Now, let me go back to the flu, to the COVID virus, the vaccine. I heard that a percentage of people are getting sick. That's no different than a percentage of people that take the flu shot. When I took my first flu shot about 14 years ago, I got very sick. I haven't taken one since. And by the way, this next March, 3 months from now, I had open heart surgery 2 years ago. But what is ironic, I have not had a cold since then. I've not had a cold. And I don't know why. But I haven't had anything that would suggest, I'm not afraid of getting COVID, but those of you who take the shot, don't think for a moment that it is anything other than a flu shot. It is not the mark of the beast. It's not the prelude to the mark of the beast. It's not something that they can put in you that Antichrist can use later. You have to take a mark offered by him in order to not have salvation. That's right. When you take his mark in the right hand or the forehead, you're not eligible for salvation. It's up for you. Refuse the mark, and you were left behind. It's going to hurt, because the Bible clearly says some of you will be caught, punished, tortured, and beheaded. But hang in there, and you will receive a crown of life. Refuse that mark of the beast. This injection is not the mark of the beast, not anything like it. It has to come from the mouth of the Antichrist. And he can't order you to take it, but he can stop your world if you don't take it. Meaning no food you can buy, you can't drive your car, you can't buy gas, you can't work a job, you can't have a house. You're out on your behind. He makes things so very, very hard. Even for some people, he will torture and kill parts of the family to try to pressure people into taking the mark. COVID injection is not the mark of the beast. So remember that. Think about that. And I think I believe, in my honest opinion, that this thing is going to go away shortly after Trump comes in. I do. I really do. I believe it's the media playing the hype, building it back up. They'll do anything. If the media hadn't lied, we wouldn't be where we are now. And how suggestible are you to someone else telling you what to do? Well, you wear a mask everywhere you go. You stand in a 6-foot circle and you go out. You can't go to gatherings more than 8 or 10 or 12 people. So you're already doing the things that the Antichrist will have you to do. In other words, you'll do what he tells you to do. You can't go to work. Well, I'll lose my business. Tough it. You're going to lose it. Don't worry about it. You can't go to work. But wait a minute. Now the congressman's going to the next door to me to eat. Well, that's where he's going to eat so they can stay open. They'll dictate to you what you can do and what you can't do. Socialism is clear and simple. So I said, what's on my chest? I had to get it off. And I just want somebody to think about that. But I expect any moment, I really do, that God is going to say to Jesus, son, go get your bride. And wow. I hope when we get there, my stomach is completely empty. Because it will be. Merry Christmas again, guys. Expoz.